German Chancellor Friedrich Merz has issued a stark warning about the very real possibility of a direct conflict between NATO and Russia erupting in the aftermath of any fragile Ukraine ceasefire agreement that might soon be reached. Friedrich Merz explicitly warned that NATO forces would take decisive action and respond forcefully if Russia dares to violate a potential future ceasefire, leaving no room for ambiguity in defending Allied territories. Merz made these sobering and highly significant remarks during a prime-time interview with Germany's prominent ZDF public television network on December 16, underscoring the precarious state of European security. Friedrich Merz said, and I quote, "Under a potential peace deal, troops from guarantor states would occupy a demilitarized zone separating Russian and Ukrainian forces. If a ceasefire was breached, they would very specifically respond to Russian incursions and attacks." Unquote. Security guarantees were allegedly discussed in high-level talks between Ukrainian President Zelensky and US officials on December 16, explicitly including provisions for such direct military intervention to safeguard Ukraine's fragile sovereignty against renewed aggression. Chancellor Merz claimed that troops from NATO member states would swiftly occupy and secure a strategically vital demilitarized zone designed to physically separate Russian forces from Ukrainian territory in the event of any ceasefire breakdown. Merz further added that these robust guarantees currently under discussion would effectively treat Ukraine as if it were actual NATO territory, extending the alliance's full protective umbrella to deter any future Russian incursions.
Ladies and gentlemen, Berlin has done all it can in terms of diplomacy in recent days and hours. It cannot do more. But all those who now believe that diplomacy alone can end this war should remember what President Putin said in response to my public request to at least lay down arms over Christmas. Ladies and gentlemen, the response to this request could not have been more cynical and brutal. Now we are talking about the price of peace. This price includes Germany contributing, together with its allies, to security guarantees for the future of Ukraine after a ceasefire. We will discuss the specific nature of this contribution in due course.
The US has reportedly offered Ukraine powerful security guarantees that mirror the strength of NATO's Article 5 collective defense clause, marking a bold step toward protecting Kiev from potential future Russian aggression in any post-ceasefire landscape. This significant move is widely seen as a dramatic shift in the US' long-standing position, which had previously ruled out Ukraine's immediate or full NATO membership while seeking alternative paths to bolster its defenses. Moscow has firmly rejected any notion of NATO's contribution to peacekeeping forces in a post-war Ukraine, viewing it as an unacceptable intrusion that would only heighten tensions rather than foster genuine stability. Putin has repeatedly stated that the NATO bloc's relentless eastward expansion lies at the very root of the problem, directly contributing to the outbreak and prolongation of the devastating war since early 2022.
I have said repeatedly, this is a lie, nonsense, pure nonsense about some imaginary Russian threat to European countries. But this is being done quite deliberately. The truth is that Russia has always, even in the most difficult circumstances, striven to find diplomatic solutions to contradictions and conflicts as long as there was even the slightest chance. And the responsibility for the failure to seize these opportunities lies entirely with those who believed that they could speak to us through force. We continue to advocate for building mutually beneficial and equitable cooperation with the United States and European states, and for the creation of a unified security system across the Eurasian region.
This comes at a critical juncture as EU leaders, including French President Macron, have openly floated the provocative idea of deploying Western forces directly into Kiev to enforce peace and deter any Russian violations in the volatile post-ceasefire environment. On December 16, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky boldly declared that Kiev is now tantalizingly close to securing robust NATO-style security guarantees that will provide ironclad protection against future threats from Moscow. Zelensky revealed that intensive talks are currently underway on innovative funding mechanisms as well as a special reconstruction fund aimed at rebuilding Ukraine's war-torn infrastructure and economy from the ground up. Zelensky is also vigorously seeking comprehensive housing compensation for millions of internally displaced Ukrainians who have been uprooted by the conflict, desperate for a path back to normal lives. He estimated the staggering total cost of this vital housing initiative at roughly $70 to $80 billion and emphasized that the US fully understands the immense scale of the humanitarian and financial challenge ahead. On the contentious territorial issues at the heart of the conflict, Zelensky reiterated with firm resolve that Ukraine's unyielding position on reclaiming the Donbass region remains completely unchanged despite mounting pressures. All eyes are now intensely focused on Russia's next move as Ukraine has given a decisive nod of approval to a US-backed peace deal during high-stakes negotiations at the Berlin talks, awaiting Moscow's response.
I believe that the issue of territories is a painful one, because Russia wants what it wants, and we can't go any further, because this is a long dialogue. We clearly understand what they want. Some may believe it, others may not, but we know with 100% certainty what they want. There has been enough dialogue on territorial issues, and it seems to me that for now we have different positions, to be honest. But I think my colleagues heard my personal position. I am very glad that I was able to convey this position personally. My message on security guarantees is that before taking any steps on the battlefield, both the military and the civilian population must have a clear understanding of what the security guarantees will be. Therefore, it is important that the US views Article 5 like arrangements plus relevant security guarantees. We are currently working to have all this written out, and we are making progress there. I see the details from the military that they have been working on. They look quite good, although this is only a first draft. And the issue of monitoring during a ceasefire is, in my opinion, part of the security guarantees. The monitoring issue includes who conducts monitoring, in what format, and what sanctions would follow violations of the ceasefire monitoring. These are the issues I raised, and it is important that we all agree we must work on them further.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the US will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't border because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.